Good evening. Welcome to the special called meeting of the City Council of the City of College Park. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. We have a quorum present with council members McKenzie, Karn, and Gay. So I'll call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. But before we take up the first item, I wanted to put on the record that there is no statutory authority, nor is there authority in the City of College Park Charter for censure. And that is the item that is coming up in number 1. The only reference to censure in the College Park City ordinances is in reference to the Code of Ethics, which gives due process to anyone accused of a violation prior to the sanction of censure. Considering we are already dealing with a number of legal issues, including the city paying for the defense of a member of the governing body in regard to a recall action, I wish to avoid any additional burden to our city. However, if the council persists in their illegal actions, we'll be forced to seek appropriate legal relief. Mr. Clerk, item number 1.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we go to item number 1, Chief of Police, would you approach the podium, please?
Mayor, council, residents of College Park, although everyone is entitled to freedom of speech, at this special call meeting, public comments is not listed, so no disruption from anyone sitting in the audience will be tolerated. There will be no warnings this evening. If you are spotted out, you will be asked to leave. I want to make everybody reference to Georgia Code 16-11-34 that is displayed on the outside of council chamber. It reads as such: it shall be unlawful for any person who recklessly or knowingly commits any act which may reasonably be expected to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting, gathering, or procession is guilty of a misdemeanor. Let's have a great meeting this evening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. And Mr. Hicks, I know you're in the position of clerk this evening, standing in. Who sponsored item number 1?
I'll refer that to City Attorney.
I'm not aware of who sponsored that item.
Someone, I mean, it didn't end up on the agenda by magic, so who sponsored it?
City Clerk, if we could move on and sound the agenda.
We haven't hit that item yet, so I can still talk. So who sponsored it? Who wants to take credit for it?
Hey, come on, don't do that.
So no one sponsored it, but it ended up on the agenda. How did that happen, Dr. Adediran? Who requested it to be put on the agenda?
City Manager, if we can move forward with the agenda so we can...
It hasn't been called yet to deliberate, so I can still talk. Dr. Adediran, who requested it be put on the agenda?
Point of order, Mayor. I make a motion that we move on with the agenda. The Mayor said sound the first item. Let's sound the first item, and let's move on.
After Dr. Adediran answers my question, sir.
No, not after not after the doctor moves on, answers your question.
There is nothing in Ordinance 2024-01 that prevents me from asking a question, and I'm asking a question to Dr. Adediran. Who asked you to place it on the agenda?
Councilman Cohen, second on the motion.
I make a motion that we move forward with the agenda.
I second that motion.
I haven't called for a second. I'm still waiting on Dr. Adediran's response. Dr. Adediran, are you refusing to answer my question?
I've been consensus to out of 3 said, move on with the agenda, it's seconded. So,
Dr. Adediran, I'm just asking who asked you to put it on the agenda?
as I stated, the councilor said move on to the second item on the agenda.
I understand. I'm just requesting. This is a motion that is presenting a possibility of sanctions on me, and I'm asking how it got here. I have the right to ask that question, and I have a right to a response. Dr. Adediran, who asked you to put it on the agenda?
I'll answer that. Here's my belief. I believe that everyone up on this dais, with the exception of yourself, have reached a consensus that this needs to be done. If we're going to have functioning meetings, then unfortunately this is something that needs to happen. So that's my belief. So We
That-
can move on, please.
That's your belief.
Well,
Okay.
can we move on, please? Motion again to move on to the first agenda item.
There is a motion to move to the first agenda item. I believe Councilmember Gay seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we'll move to the first agenda item.
First agenda item is consideration of an action on request by the City Council of College Park to execute a resolution censoring Mayor Bianca Motley Broom for her conduct at the August 5th, 2024 meeting of the College Park City Council to provide an effective date and for other lawful purposes, and I'll read that at this time. A resolution censoring Mayor Bianca Motley Broom for her conduct at the August 5th, 2024 meeting of the College Park City Council to provide an effective date and for other lawful purposes. Whereas Bianca Motley Broom is the elected mayor of the city of College Park, and whereas the city of College Park is committed to its residents first, and whereas the city of College Park is committed to the rule of law and maintaining a community of law and order. This includes all aspects of government from the city's top priority, which remains our citizens, all the way down to city council as public servants. Whereas throughout the past 8 months, Bianca Motley Broom has persistently displayed her petulance, her belligerence, her immaturity, and her lack of leadership in terms of being mayoral and understanding the level of decorum that should come with the office of mayor. And whereas this ongoing behavior has resulted in multiple negative consequences, including complete disruption of the work of city council, including the effectiveness of public meetings, causing residents, local elected officials, and community organizations to lose confidence in the city of College Park as a whole, discouraging other members of the public to serve as elected officials or in other capacities, doing irreparable damage to the morale of staff, including city manager, and making it more difficult to attract and retain employees. And whereas a public meeting of the city council was conducted on August 5th, 2024, and whereas the August 5th, 2024 public meeting was presided over by Mayor Motley Broom and included all members of city council, various city staff members, and members of the general public. And whereas during the court of public meeting, Mayor Motley Broom defiantly refused to follow the city ordinance establishing parliamentary procedures and purposefully engaged in outrageous behavior that disrupted the public meeting. And whereas, based on Mayor Motley Broom's action, the city council voted unanimously that Mayor Motley Broom was out of order. And whereas, despite the vote of city council, Mayor Motley Broom continued to ignore the rules of procedure and disrupt the meeting. And whereas Mayor Motley Broom made it abundantly clear to the city council and the citizens of College Park that she would not adhere to the parliamentary procedures, ordinances established by the city of College Park. And whereas the United States District Court soundly rejected Mayor Motley Broom's request to enjoin the operation of city parliamentary procedures, ordinances, ruling that the ordinance does not violate the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. And whereas the city parliamentary procedures ordinance is presently in effect, fully operational, entirely binding on Mayor Motley Broom and the members of the city council. And whereas all elected officials of the city are expected to conform themselves to the highest standards of personal and professional conduct, yet it has become clear that Mayor Motley Broom's behavior is well outside of reasonable expectation conduct for an elected official. It is also important to be clear about why this conduct can no longer be tolerated by the city council. And whereas the nature of these negative impacts compels the city of College Park to enact a resolution to censure Mayor Motley Broom for her actions, which constitutes a gross failure to meet the city standards that hold her accountable for her unlawful and unacceptable behavior. Whereas the actions of Mayor Motley Broom was observed by members of city council, by city staff, the public, and persons watching on social media platforms. Whereas the actions of Mayor Motley Broom were unacceptable breach of decorum, were not befitting the office of mayor, and were well beneath the dignity of any official of the city of College Park. Whereas the actions of Mayor Motley Broom were inconsistent with the city of College Park commitment to conducting public meetings in a manner that demonstrates the highest level of respect for public and city employees. Now, therefore, based on the foregoing, the City Council of the City of College Park finds, determines, and resolves as follows. The City Council hereby formally censures, rebukes, condemns, in the strongest possible terms, Mayor Motley Broom for her disruptive behavior, unlawful refusal, and to the city's lawful parliamentary procedure ordinance, and her brazen refusal to accept the unanimous ruling by the City Council that she was out of order at the public meeting held on August 5th, 2024, as referenced therein. The public should understand that such behavior is not condemned and will not be tolerated. The City Council calls on Mayor Broom to adhere to all
Motley
city
Broom.
ordinances and guidelines, as well as all standards of civility, decency during public meetings, and whenever acting as representative of the City of College Park. The City Council will consider additional appropriate sanctions for Mayor Broom.
Motley Broom.
Mayor Motley Broom. Thank you, Mayor. Be it further resolved that the City of College Park will amend its policies to address the lack of decorum and the ongoing flagrant breaches of good order at public meetings, the ability to maintain order in public meetings, and an inherent power possessed by all government bodies. Nevertheless, the City Council will amend the city's parliamentary procedures and ordinance to the public on notice of possible sanction. Be it further resolved that to the extent any person, including any elected official, is ruled as out of order by the governing body, that person will be subject to immediate sanctions up to and including removal from public meetings. Be it further resolved that any and all resolutions in conflict with this resolution be and the same are hereby repealed. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption by the City Council, enacted and adopted on this date, August 2024.
And whereas that's a giant pile of horse shit, because she's the only individual who will hold this, who will hold these tiny.
Hey, Chief,
All right, that's enough.
no, clear the room.
No, let's
Clear the room.
let's
Clear the
This is a public meeting. We're not clearing the room. We're not clearing the room. Ladies and gentlemen, 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 just, if you could, just be quiet.
This isn't the right way. You're going to say we're in This is a public meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Clear the room.
Ladies and gentlemen, 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 come on. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost a quorum.
They should have
We've lost a quorum.
had a meeting in July.
We don't have a quorum anyway. Yep. All right. So we are on item number 1. Is there a motion?
Motion on item 2A, I believe. Is that-
Oh, I'm sorry.
reading
2A. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Everyone present is in favor of a censure. And so before we get to item B, actually, never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Question from the city clerks. So are any of the participants are supposed to be here to defend some of their items that's on the agenda?
Mr. Sampson
if
is
so, some of
actually,
them may
Mr.
be
Sampson is
outside.
out there. Dr. Chisulo was
Right.
here at one time.
Some of them may be outside.
I believe there's another one in.
As we get to the item, if they're outside, I have an
Okay.
officer go out and get them.
Okay,
Well,
then I'd like to proceed. Item B, consideration for discussion regarding the senior homestead exemption. This discussion was led by Councilwoman Jamel McKenzie.
Yes, this particular item, I have had several concerns, even last year before I was in office, from seniors because of the fact that the income cap that was placed by the mayor and council for this senior homestead exemption only allows seniors in our city who are single to be able to bring in an income of $40,000 or less a year. And for if there's 2 people in the home, it's $80,000. And this has really been problematic, specifically, I would say, for the seniors, for my seniors in my ward, Ward 1 and Ward 4, we have the majority of homesteaders in the city. In fact, in the city, the last record in the city was that we had 1,182 homesteaders who were living in the city of College Park and taking those homestead exemptions, I guess, through Fulton County. And in Ward 1, there's 634 persons, Ward 4, 388, Ward 2, 11, and Ward 3, 149. When the application or the information went out to all the homesteaders, we only have 76 people in the city that currently, who applied for this, that currently actually are receiving this homestead exemption. And to me, that is problematic because we went through all of the hoopla to have the governor sign into law, a bill or whatever, for us to have the homestead exemption, but we're really not seeing our seniors reap the benefit of it. So I wanted to have a discussion today to reevaluate this current, and then of course the mayor and council in 2023, because there was no legislation passed, decided to do a utility credit for seniors. This is problematic because the people who qualified for the credit were told that they had to reapply or fill out an affidavit or whatever to be able to apply for the homestead exemption. So we're talking about persons who are 65 and up or disabled having to go through all of these changes after working all their lives, specifically our 65-year-old and up. And in my opinion, there really shouldn't have been not any income cap whatsoever. But I'd like for us to reevaluate this, make the process smoother for our seniors, and raise the, which I think Councilman Karn also has the next agenda item. But I wanted to open up for discussion to see what any of the legislative branch had to say on this issue.
Oh, so you didn't want me to say anything on that? Okay. Well, I wanted to share Mr. Latona's email about it because I think it does, and you shared part of it. But he did share some concerns about.
City Manager, I have a point of order.
Point of order.
Mayor, I'm going to have to make a motion that you not preside? The presiding officer don't deliberate?
I'll second that motion with discussion.
The motion is that I not preside, and so me not presiding is a violation of our city charter.
No, I said
Because
you not
Motion and a
preside,
second.
that you don't deliberate.
this is a discussion, not a deliberation. So that's why I'm here, and that's what-
Point of order, Mayor. City Manager, City Attorney, we are currently in the legislative agenda for this city right now, and we're in the legislative segment of this meeting, which means only the council members are participating in discussion, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
all right.
Mayor,
well,
excuse me, I still have the floor. And again, Mayor, we're going to do what we can here to try to have a decent meeting here. If you're not going to allow that to happen, I second Roderick's motion for the Mayor Pro Tem to take over presiding the meeting.
that is in violation of our city charter.
Understood. That's my motion, and I second Councilmember Gay's motion.
Mr. Denmark,
Yes.
my role in this city is to preside over meetings. The only specific enumerated power given to the mayor in the charter is to preside over meetings, correct?
Among others,
Mayor,
yes.
you're not presiding over the meetings right now. You're
And if the council
legislating.
tries to give one power given to the mayor to another elected official, that's inherently a form of the change of, it's an inherent change in the form of government. I am the presiding officer. I shall govern. I shall preside over these meetings. That is the power vested in me by the charter of the city of College Park. It is out of order for the mayor pro tem to preside when I am able to do so. I am able to do so. I will do so. Is there any further discussion on the homestead tax exemption?
City Attorney, there's a motion and a second.
If I might, what I would say is that the charter calls for the mayor to be the presiding officer, but we also have a parliamentary procedures ordinance which indicates that the presiding officer shall not deliberate or state opinions. Therefore, if we're going to stand on the law, we can't cherry pick the laws that we're going to stand on. Yes, the charter says in section 1-8 that the mayor is the presiding officer.
1-8?
I believe that's the provision in the
It's
charter.
1-8.
And so, but our parliamentary procedures ordinance also says that the presiding officer shall not deliberate. So if we're going to follow the law, I would counsel you to follow all of the law, not just certain portions of the law. Furthermore, to the extent that any member of the governing body is out of order, it is an inherent right in the majority of the governing body to so state and to take control of the meeting. We're not required to deal with anarchy. We have rules that govern us. Some of those rules are unpleasant or distasteful to some, but those are the rules that we have. They've been duly and lawfully adopted. So it is my strong recommendation to every single member of the governing body to follow the rules that we have, whether we like them or not. The rules state that the mayor is the presiding officer. The rules also state that the presiding officer does not deliberate. I would strongly encourage you to follow the rules, all of them.
And this is a discussion, not a deliberation. So I appreciate.
That's a distinction that does not, it might be best to read from the text of the ordinance so that we can have perfect clarity and not let this degenerate into a semantic discussion. It states that in order to ensure his or her neutrality while presiding over deliberations of city council in accordance with the charter, the mayor shall not express opinions or otherwise participate in a debate or discussions on matters before city council. That language is broad enough to encompass all conversations as the city council is deliberating.
Okay.
And that
All right.
language is fully in effect. It was duly adopted. That's the law that governs us, period.
So it doesn't say that I can't ask questions. I'll do that in between. I appreciate it. Anyone else have anything on the senior homestead tax exemption?
We have a motion and second on the floor. City Attorney.
Councilman Corn, if the mayor chooses to follow the law, why don't we take back the motion and let's move on with the people's business?
That's what we've been trying to do here.
So what was the motion, Michael?
It was just discussion.
Right.
It was just discussion.
It was just discussed, that wasn't a motion.
City Attorney, I do believe questions are part of the discussion. Again, we're in the legislative segment of deliberations here, obviously.
Yes.
So, again, if we can move forward, that would be great.
Okay, I do have some more to say on it. So basically also, there was more in the email, and in the email from Mr. Latona, he also mentioned, but this is not necessarily, he found this online, that the average income for the households in the city of College Park is $73,528, and the median income for persons 64 years old is $65,000. And that's important to me, because if you are 65 and you were making $65,000 a year up until the time you turn 65, you probably still have $65,000 worth of bills that you have to pay. So to look at limiting a senior who is single to an income of $40,000 in order to get a tax exemption is extremely unfair, in my opinion. And that is why I would like to revisit this amount. My ask was to take it to $100,000 per single senior. However, Mr. Latona did suggest that that may surpass the $1 million mark in terms of what the city would be coming out or not receiving. So I am still open to hear from the legislative team in terms of what you feel about this issue.
Anyone have anything to add?
Well, I'll just say,
Councilmember Carn, go right ahead.
I believe the income requirements are a bit too low, and from what I've heard from residents, additionally, that the amount of red tape is a little confusing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to look at streamlining this and lower and raising your threshold here. So that's my 2 cents.
Councilmember Gay?
I don't see any action for us to take on consideration B.
There is none.
So, Mayor, can you call?
Well, before we get to C, I have a question, because
Point of order.
we're
City
done with
Attorney.
B.
City
There is
Attorney.
nothing in 2024 Councilmember Carn, just let me finish my sentence, please.
Mayor, you out of order.
There is
Mayor, you are out of order.
There is nothing in ordinance 2024-01 that prevents me from asking a question.
This is
If
discussion of
the
the
body
agenda
is
item.
done with one item, we haven't moved to the next, I have a question. And that's it. I have a question, because it was my understanding that the senior homestead tax exemption was based upon Social Security numbers, and so that was tied to inflation, that it was not a flat $40,000. Can anyone answer that question?
Point of, Mayor, you're discussing the agenda item. Mayor, this is nothing personal. We're trying to follow the judge's recommendations. We are trying to follow our city ordinances and codes. That is simply what we're trying to do. Would you please allow us to do that so that we can conduct a meeting?
And so, as I said, my question is, the Social Security, that the senior homestead tax was actually tied to Social Security, not a flat $40,000. Can anyone answer that question?
Mayor, this is discussion of agenda items. Again, point of order, Mayor.
I'm permitted under 2024-01 to ask questions. There's nothing that says I can't ask a question. My question is the senior homestead exemption tied to Social Security?
Mayor, again,
Councilmember, why don't you just let her ask out in the space of the room?
She did.
And
She
just
did.
stop talking, and then we just move on to the next item, sir.
Well,
All right.
these questions are part of the discussion of the agenda item.
No, it's no-
I have the ability to ask a question. So there's nothing under 2024-01 that prevents me from asking a question. And so the question is pertinent to this discussion, and I understand
It's
that.
part of the discussion.
But I have a question.
City
Is it
Attorney,
based
could you
upon
please
Social
clear-
Security?
City Attorney, could you please clarify what deliberation means?
Yes, ma'am. I will read the language again, just so that we're all clear. In order to maintain, to ensure his or her neutrality while presiding over deliberations of the city council in accordance with the charter, the mayor shall not express opinions, and here's the critical part, or otherwise participate in the debate or discussions on matters before the city council. The or otherwise participate, in my opinion, would encompass statements or questions. I believe that the ordinance is clear. The ordinance may not be preferable, but the ordinance is clear.
Thank you, Mr. Denmark. I disagree with your
Okay,
opinion.
can I-
And my question, it still remains,
Point of order.
is the Social Security the tie? Is it flat 40,000, or is it tied to Social Security, which is indexed by inflation? That's my only question.
Okay, but-
Because the item on the agenda coming up next is changing the homestead exemption from $40,000 to $70,000. And so if we do it at 70, without indexing for inflation, we might be doing our residents a disservice. So the question is the homestead exemption tied to Social Security, or is it a flat $40,000?
Mayor, with all due respect, we're trying to follow the guidelines that were given to us. We're trying to follow our code of ordinances. City Manager, I have a suggestion here, and this is my last attempt to try so we can move on with this meeting. We want to try to accommodate everything that we can. We want to try to have the discussion, but that is for the council members to have the discussion and deliberations. Now, Mayor, we want to try to accommodate you as best as we can within the boundaries of our laws and within the boundaries of the recommendations and guidance from the judge. So how about this? Mayor, whatever questions you have, I would suggest you write them down, and your council member, if she so chooses to ask those questions, and we have them taken care of at the end of the meeting. How about that?
No, sir.
Okay, well, I've tried. I've done.
Sir,
Okay.
but I can get a dry
All right,
erase
then.
board. But the one question that I have is it indexed to Social Security?
I tried.
That's all. That's the question that I have. Dr. Adediran,
Yes, ma'am.
the homestead exemption, is it indexed to Social Security?
City Manager.
Or is it a flat 40,000?
City Manager, do we have the right within law to silence her mic? Because we have business to attend, and it's disruptive.
Mike?
Dr. Adediran, is it indexed to Social Security or not?
Yes, please.
If I might, we've reached a crisis in College Park. Some would say we reached it a long time ago. We have certainly reached it now. And at some point, sanity has to prevail. Ladies and gentlemen, it is apparent that there's no path forward presently. And I don't know whether we can conduct business under this arrangement. The only thing that's left, we've already removed every member of the public. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've never seen that. And this is not a good day in College Park. And now we have, I'll give the mayor the benefit of the doubt and say this is a legitimate and good faith disagreement on the interpretation of our parliamentary procedures ordinance. My recommendation is that we get clarity on this. What I would want us to avoid is the ugly specter of taking further actions against either the public or a member of the governing body. We have many items on this agenda. I know that's why we had a special call meeting, because you correctly believe that many of these items were important and they needed to be addressed. But here we are, and we've been sitting here for almost an hour, and we've not accomplished anything except to kick the public out of the meeting room. I'm sure this is going to play on the media, and so I would strongly urge that we suspend this meeting and that we immediately try to get some clarity from a judicial body on how we should proceed. Because the danger in going forward past this moment is that this crisis is going to escalate. We think it's bad now, but if we continue this meeting, it's going to escalate, and we're going to wish that we had taken this moment to forge a different path forward. My advice and recommendation to you is to get some judicial guidance on how we need to proceed, because I do not believe that we can amicably resolve this among the governing body members on the dais, and if we try to do it in a manner that's not amicable, I think we will regret that we did.
As the Mayor Pro Tem, let me comment and say a couple of things. For 4 years that I sat here as Council Member Ward 4, the mayor turned off my mic, she slammed the gavel. All this is on the tape. I was not allowed to talk. I was never appointed Mayor Pro Tem from 2015 until this new council. I think, City Attorney, this is exactly playing out the way the mayor wants it. She's used the media to weaponize us. There's a real small group of people. There's approximately 14,000 residents in our city. There's about 30 people who have consistently, and I want to say this for the record. What you are seeing tonight is change. You're seeing change. This is not unique to College Park. This happens everywhere. We're sitting on the federal level. Change is that we have a new council and we have new rules. In fact, in all fairness to the mayor, she never was supposed to deliberate. But under the previous council member, they allowed her to be a super strong mayor. They allowed her to do this. And she doesn't know how to, in my opinion, go back to where the charter has been since this great city was founded. I will tell you that a lot of people say that we're out of control, we're losing it. That's not true. We're being weaponized by the media. I didn't see the media at Boys to Men. I didn't see the media at National Night Out. I only see the media when there's chaos, when it's intended to cast us in a different light. And I will tell you, if the media really wants to do research, if the judicial officers really want to do the research, Joe, go on, let me finish. Let me finish. This is exactly what our mayor wants. It's playing out exactly the way she wanted. So, city manager, all she was asking was questions. Now, my mother told me that a person can't fight with themselves. If you would just stop talking to her and let her talk. If we have to sit here till tomorrow, just let her talk. We have to do the people's business. This is what she wants. So I'm gonna ask my colleagues, so let's do the people business. Mary, as far as I'm concerned, you may talk as long as you want to talk, because at some point, some judicial officers may rule and we'll get more clarification. But Mayor Motley Broom, I want to be candid with you. This is exactly what you want. And history will prove that you may not be right in this. Because a leader leads. And we follow you. We're not following you. And I will say this to you respectfully. You could use your seat to make this one of the best cities in the South. But instead, you use your seat to bring this type of chaos to us. But before they were elected, you bullied me. I couldn't even go home to my children because on news they said, why do you let a lady talk to you like that? You know, Mayor, the first year in your office, you told our city manager, Terrence, you told him And it's not hearsay because I heard you. You told him, I have 3 votes. You, Ambrose, and Allen voted as a block 99% of the time for 4 years. You were a super strong mayor. You fired every African-American black director in this city. Everyone got fired. Joe, I'm talking. So I don't want this to play out, but what I want to say to you, Joe, is I think that we need to do the people business, attorney. I just think that if she wants to talk, just let her talk. And when she'll stop talking, and we'll go on, or I'll take the gavel and we have a quorum to vote. Those are my suggestions.
I have a suggestion, City Attorney. I agree with Councilman Gay in terms of I want to finish this meeting and conduct the business of the residents. I have a compromise suggestion. We want to figure out if we can make a way to make this work. In order to move forward with this meeting, I would suggest that we forward a motion to suspend any and all questions and to have staff follow up with all of us the first of next week. How about that? And we can move down the agenda items. I would make that motion. Would that help, and could we move on that way? And all of our questions will be answered first of next week.
I don't get it. I mean, it sounds fine to me, Councilman. It sounds fine to me.
Let's give that a try. That's my motion, so we can move forward.
Then why don't you just put them in a consent agenda?
I'm making a motion that we do a consent agenda on all of our items. Well, we can,
No,
or we can go down the items.
I can't go.
Well, my motion would be to suspend any and all questions current right now, and have staff follow up with all of us next week with our list of questions.
So
So
that
that
would-
we can conduct, excuse me, Mayor, I have the floor. That is a motion. All it requires is a second, so we can move on.
Sir,
Without
I have,
comment.
sir, I want to make sure I get clarity on that. So
My motion
essentially,
is-
so hold on, sir, I'm trying to get clarity. So you want to suspend questioning, so essentially you're suspending Robert's rules then?
We can suspend the rules anytime we see fit. And I
Okay.
think this is all legislative bodies have the ability to do that. My motion, again, City Clerk, so we're clear, is to suspend any and all questions for this meeting, and to have staff follow up with any list of questions that we have next week.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. So that contravenes 2024-01 as well. But any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of not asking any questions on any of the agenda items and getting all that information next week, say
Motion.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilmember McKenzie, what is your vote?
Abstain.
Councilmember McKenzie abstains, 2 in favor with Councilmembers Gay and Carn, and so the motion passes.
Next item.
Just so I have some clarity, I'd like to read back the motion, please. Motion to make all items a consent agenda and staff.
No. We're not doing the consent agenda. The motion was to suspend any and all questions right now, and to have staff follow up with the questions for all of us first of next week with the answers.
And I did not abstain in favor. I abstained.
Councilmember McKenzie, I'm sorry, I'm unclear with what
You
you're saying.
said that Councilwoman McKenzie abstains in favor. And
No,
didn't-
I said you abstain in
That's what it
2 in
sounded
favor.
like from here, so.
I apologize if that's
Okay.
what it sounded like, but I understood that your vote to be an abstention, and Councilmembers Carn and Gay were in favor.
Okay.
I'd like to read the motion again, if I may. Motion to suspend all questions for now, and staff will follow up next week with answers to all questions.
How do we get our questions asked? If we can't
There's a
ask any
motion to
question?
suspend all questions on the floor here. We voted. Can we move on to the next agenda item?
Okay, but we're gonna be,
We just motioned for no questions, and
I
you're asking a question literally 10 seconds later. Mayor, if you could please.
no, I'm sorry.
What was the
but
question? What was the question?
the question is, so how do we get the questions asked? Are we just like emailing after y'all vote?
We simply email them, write them down.
Excuse me, I'm talking. The way we'll get a mass is after this meeting, before we adjourn, we'll sit and we'll discuss how we want to get the people's questions answered.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. 2C, consideration action to request to increase the senior homestead exemption of maximum income threshold from $40,000 to $70,000. This item is requested by Councilman Joe Coyne. This will service all wards.
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second to, no, it's not a second because I want to change the amounts. So Joe, would you consider, Councilman Cohen, would you consider a friendly amendment?
I consider it.
All right, I would like to have a friendly amendment that the threshold is $80,000 per individual and $100,000 per household or joint. That's $80,000 per individual to $100,000 jointly. That is my friendly amendment, Councilmember Carn.
Councilman, well, the reason why I'm suggesting we hold here is right now we have less than 100 folks in the program that qualify under that income level. My suggestion is if we raise the income requirement a bit and see how many more folks we get in the boat, and we can gauge by that. If we see fit that it's not enough people participating, where we're under our number of limit, if that's $1 million or whatever it is, then we can come back and increase a bit more. This is a new concept, and we want to tailor it where it fits as many people as possible without going too far overboard financially.
Well, let me comment.
Hold on, wait, let him finish, please.
So I would just suggest, I'm not against moving it higher, but I think maybe we take it to this number now.
All right.
And then move it higher based on how much participation we get.
Well, let me give a little bit of clarity, please.
Councilmember Gay, go right ahead.
Before we do, I want to play something. Can you play that? Play the tape and cut it volume up, please.
Income seniors struggling to keep up with rising property taxes and inflation. But a metro area city council wants to put that plan on hold. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is live for us in College Park. Justin, a lawsuit says that move by College Park violates state law.
Well, it was the city council here in College Park who reached out to the legislature asking them to pass a bill allowing them to have a senior homestead exemption, to put it up for a citywide vote. But now it's that same city council refusing to follow the law it asked for. 82-year-old Shirley Robinson never expected she'd not just be fighting City Hall, but suing the city of College Park in Superior Court.
Well, I was heartbroken.
Heartbroken because College Park City Council voted not to hold a November referendum on the senior citizen homestead exemption she led the fight for. Robinson worries about losing her home of more than 40 years.
I'm on a fixed income. Fixed income means just what it says, fixed. I have no extra money coming in.
Robinson filed this lawsuit because the November referendum is required by this state law, passed by the legislature and signed by Governor Kemp earlier this year. Here's the strange thing. The state passed the law because city council asked for it.
This says you shall have a vote, and the city council said we shall not. And there's nothing more complicated to it than that.
But city leaders say they didn't get what they expected. The exemption would be for all seniors over 65. College Park says it had only wanted to target low-income seniors over 70. But Councilman Roderick Gay says that's the city's problem, not seniors.
We've had about 5 opportunities before the governor signed the bill to make sure that the language was exactly what we wanted.
College Park's mayor declined our request for an interview and referred us instead to this video message she shared this week on social media.
The bill provided significant financial benefit to individuals who are not economically disadvantaged.
When it's a law telling you what you have to do, your reasons for not wanting to do it don't matter.
City Councilman Gay says the budget difference between the exemption College Park says it wants and what it got is less than $1 million of the city's $140 million budget. But it's enough to make a huge impact for seniors like Shirley Robinson.
There's no money to pay this, and I don't want to lose my home for taxes.
So there is a court date set in the lawsuit for next week. City Council here, though, with that bill, they wanted to send it back to the legislature, have them rewrite the legislation in 2023. But the lawsuit says that clearly violates the state law. We will follow it for you. We're live in College Park. Justin, great Channel 2 Action News.
Tense moments after this.
Excuse me. Let me finish my comment. Councilmember Corn, Councilmember McKenzie. Let me start by saying, first off, we spent a year on this legislation. Not one time have anybody called me, other than me calling you, to say, hey man, you spent a year on this legislation. Your constituents had to file a suit on this legislation. What are your thoughts? Now, we just gave ourselves $1 million community benefit. $1 million. We stayed in here at 5 o'clock in the morning. And now you're going to tell me that you want to consider. Let me give you some facts. College Park has approximately 3,000 homesteaders. There are about 3,000 people that own homes in College Park and a resident of approximately 14,000 people. Councilmember Corn, Councilmember McKenzie, seniors 65 or older only represent about 10% of that number. If every citizen 65 or older were exempt from property tax, the burden on our budget would be less than $2 million. Less than $2 million.
Councilman?
Now, I'm talking.
Yeah, he is talking. Let him talk.
Now, that's about $100,000, $200,000 that you want us to vote for tonight. After this. If I'm going to be on the news, I'm going to be on the news about something worth it. I'm not going to be on the news because y'all tipping and tapping. If I'm going to get on the news, it's going to be I'm going to fight for people. That lady dying of cancer on that video. And the other one may have died, and her tax was auctioned right here. Now my motion, my friendly motion, is to take single 80, joint 100.
Councilmember, you made your point. I'll accept your friendly amendment.
And I want to add on to that if possible, since the mayor, I heard what she said about the Social Security, whatever the Social Security, if for some chance Social Security becomes more than $80,000, then we will raise it at that time as well. So my motion, if you would consider this, Councilman Gay, that we go from 80,000 for single, 100,000 for joint, and that should at any time the Social Security go from 40,000 past 80,000, that we change it and we make it commensurate with that.
Do you have that motion?
I want to keep the motion simple, Councilwoman Arnold. The minutes so reflect your desire.
Okay.
The motion stays as a friendly amendment, single income 80,000, joint 100.
I'm sorry. Was there a motion on the floor? Councilmember Carn had a motion. Was there a second on his motion? Because you made a motion, but
He made a friendly amendment, man.
Yeah, wait, hold on. He said that he would. Councilmember Carn, you made the motion. So what is your motion?
I withdraw my original motion. I accept Roderick Gay's motion, and my second was a friendly amendment, which I accepted from Councilmember Gay with the change of the numbers. My numbers were different. He added a friendly amendment with different numbers, and I accepted.
I'm so sorry.
Clerk,
I
are you-
have no
city-
idea what's
city-
happening now.
That's fine. We're
No,
going to work with you
no,
after this. City Clerk,
No, wait,
did
hold
you
on a
get
second.
it? Did you get
Hold on
it?
a second.
Did you get
Mr.
it?
Hicks, Mr. Hicks,
So,
what is the motion? Wait, first of all, is there a motion pending?
yes, motions by Councilman Gay. He motioned to increase the threshold to 80,000 for individuals and 100,000 jointly.
Is there a second?
Second.
You made the motion.
Second,
Hold on,
McKenzie.
hold on. Councilmember Gay made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember McKenzie's made the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
City Manager, we do want to do what we can to take a look at the forms and the steps to make sure that's as verifiable as possible, but at the same time, ease of application and process for the residents.
I'll get with Philippe on that.
All right.
Item D, the city clerk, interim city clerk asked me to remove that until the August 19th meeting.
All right.
Okay.
2E, consideration of action on request to approve a special event permit for the College Park Reunion Committee to hold the College Park Annual Coming Home Reunion at Charles E. Phillips Park on August 31st, 2024, from 7 to 8 o'clock p.m. Of course, this was also requested by our Deputy City Clerk, Queenie Brown.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Next item. Item F, consideration of action on request to approve a special event permit for Thomas Kennedy Sampson and Tompkins LLC to hold Black Business Block Party at 3355 Main Street on August 31st, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. This item is requested by, of course, our Deputy City Clerk. Will affect all wards.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes unanimously.
2G, consideration and action on request for the approval of the Human Culture Civic Program presented by Dr. Chisulu Okono Ajaniku at a workshop session dated April 3rd, 2023, in an amount of $30,000 for Phase 1. The item is requested by Councilwoman Jamel McKenzie. This will service all wards.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
I think the gentleman item just got approved.
Is he
That's
out there?
Attorney Sampson at the door.
Yeah, let's
Let him know his item just got approved. In the blue shirt at the door. That's one of the gentlemen's on the action item. That's Attorney Sampson.
Mr. Sampson, your agenda item was approved.
Your item
You're
was
good.
approved, Attorney.
Mr. Sampson, you're good. Mr. Sampson, you're good.
Yes.
Approved. I sent you a
good night.
message. Okay.
Thank you, officers. I'm sorry, Council.
Madam Mayor, if I may, item G was motioned by McKenzie. It was seconded by
I second it.
Gay.
Is Dr. Chisulu out there?
Councilwoman, we're not having any discussion. You just
Okay.
wanted to hear.
Right. Well, yeah.
Well, we are. There is discussion.
We can't have any questions. We covered the questions part. Nobody's doing any questions. So there's been a motion and a second.
With discussion.
Okay,
He's not
that's fine.
there.
All right, we're fine.
Okay.
Didn't know if he wanted to sit in here while we were voting.
Anyone have any discussion?
City Manager,
Yes, sir.
just, I definitely, I'm for this. We want to follow up with Dr. Chulu for some guidance in terms of, I think, which phases we'd like to see implemented first, some stuff along those lines.
Okay. I'll call it.
All right.
And I do have a point of contention. I also, if you don't mind, like for him to give us some type of invoicing on how this gonna work. I don't think this is a lump sum. This has to be over performance,
Okay.
and y'all can work on that, bring it back. Okay.
I'll report back.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Item H, consideration and action on request to change the direction of traffic on John Calvin Avenue, Hemp Hill to Hawthorne Avenue to a one-way unidirectional traffic street instead of its current status as a two-way street. This is requested by Chief of Police Connie Rogers. This is not a budgeted item. It affects our ward.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Dr. Adediran, could you follow up and let everyone know if there was any traffic study that was done as in...
Is that a question?
It was traffic study.
That's a question right there.
Yeah.
That's a question.
The chief has some.
I'm not asking it now because I can't ask it now. But I'm just saying, will you follow up? Because we can't ask questions.
That's silly what you just.
Okay,
I mean,
we
you just
got it.
asked the question.
Can we please move on?
No, I'm saying, can we get the answer?
Okay, can we please move on? We're gonna get all the answers.
City manager.
I have to.
Let her ask. Joe, let her ask. Go ahead, Mayor. Ask the question.
Can we get information on whether a traffic study was done? No, Chief. Apparently, we're not asking questions right now.
She just.
Traffic study was done.
Yeah,
Okay.
the traffic study was done.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. And why we had red paint on 29? What was going on with that earlier this week? I think a resident was painting.
Mayor, I think we
red,
established we'll
and
get
so-
those answers.
Joe, listen. Joe.
I don't know how to get the question out. I'm not
let-
asking for the answer. I'm just asking the question.
Okay.
Yeah, we just said we would suspend questions. We'll get the answer.
Councilman Corn, it
first
doesn't matter.
week of
Let her
May.
please talk. I don't mind it. Let her talk. You see, we getting into people's business. Let her talk. I substitute teach in classes where children act out all day.
I'm just trying to follow
We
the
just
guide.
let them talk. Just let her talk.
All right.
All right. All right. Next, call out.
There's not been a vote on this?
Before we go. Oh, my God. Was a vote taken on that?
No, there was not a vote taken.
Okay.
It was a motion by McKenzie, seconded by Carn, and the vote was not taken yet.
That's correct. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Mayor and Council, before we go to the next item, I'm wondering whether the governing body would be inclined to let the public back in. Maybe their attitude has changed and
I'm okay with that. That's a good suggestion.
I'm fine with it too. Do we need to vote?
We should always let the public in.
Okay.
I think the reminder would be good once again.
Can we just move the agenda, please, while they're coming in? We don't have to wait on them.
Okay, so let's go on to I.
Okay, let's go on, Michael.
City manager, shall I proceed? City manager, shall I proceed? Thank you. Okay. All right. Consideration of action on request to approve to extend contract to August 31st for road steward and approve additional estimated expenses. This request is from interim city manager Emmanuel Dedering. It's not a budgeted item.
Is there a motion?
Motion, I have some discussion, but motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Councilmember Carn?
City manager, again, we just want to make sure that we're looking at instituting some proficiency tests for certain positions so that we are covering that base.
Yes, sir.
That's going to save us money in the long run.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Adediran, if you could report back to the body about if the scope of Ms. Stewart's contract has changed, because it appears that the contract that was initially engaged with Ms. Stewart does not cover the things that she's been doing. So if there's been some changes, if you would let us know.
Sure.
Sir, you're
all
gonna-
those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
J, consideration of action on request for approval of the collaborative firm First Amendment to professional service agreement. This item was requested by interim city manager Dr. Emmanuel Dedering. This will serve all wards.
Motion with discussion.
I haven't called for a motion yet. Is there a motion?
Motion with discussion.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
City manager
Is there a second?
was
Is there a second?
I have some discussion.
Is there a second?
I have some discussion.
Is there a second?
City manager.
There's a motion?
on, man. Is
There's
it a second? If
There's a
it's not a
motion,
second, don't-
and then I need,
then it
is there a
dies.
second?
Then it dies, for lack of a second. If he don't have a second, then it
All right,
dies.
then it dies.
There's always an opportunity for discussion, members.
Exactly.
So
wait.
so it'd be appropriate just to second the motion
Yeah.
and then have the discussion, and after the
Second,
end of discussion, you can vote against it or vote for it.
Second with discussion.
There's always discussion.
Okay, he cleared that for you, man.
City manager, my understanding is we were going month to month.
Yes, sir.
I thought we weren't asking questions.
That wasn't a question. Could I please, I have the floor. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
All right. So this is,
And the position is currently being advertised by Sumter Consulting for a city planner.
all right, we're looking at this doesn't lock us into anything long-term.
All right, so is there
And then I have
any
a
further
question.
discussion? Councilman, wait, we're not asking questions.
Mayor, you asked 3 questions.
Then I have a discussion.
I thought we were just supposed to report,
Okay.
that they're supposed to report back.
Then I'm good. Call the vote.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. No. I'm a no.
What?
You know.
I said no. You said those opposed. I said aye. No.
All right, let me start again. All those in favor? All those opposed? I've called for the vote, Councilmember Carn, so we're on 8J, I'm sorry, 2J. All those, I've called for the vote. All those in favor?
I said aye. You
Yes.
called for the vote once already.
Yes, you're correct.
So you repeat
Okay.
the same vote.
So you are in favor. Councilmember Carn, what is your vote?
If you can give me 1 second here.
Sir, I've called for the vote.
I
We had
understand.
discussion.
I
I
understand.
appreciate that, but now we've moved to the vote. So I need to know what your vote is.
Okay, if you can give me 1 second, please, I'd appreciate it.
Sir, this is not the time for questions or discussion. What is your vote?
I don't have questions or discussion. If you give me 1
Ms.
minute.
Broccoli Broom, can you be respectful? We're not going to talk. Just let him think, please.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a little time to clear my head here. I'd appreciate it.
Councilmember McKenzie, what is your vote?
I said no.
Could I please have a minute to think?
I'm not speaking to you, sir. Councilmember McKenzie, what is your vote?
No.
All right, so Councilmember Gay is in favor, Councilmember McKenzie is opposed, and we are
Councilmember
waiting.
Carn needs a minute.
And I was saying, we're waiting on Councilmember Carn.
All right.
Councilmember Carn is in favor, and so the motion passes.
2K, consideration and action on request to approve the invoice payment.
City Clerk, K should have not been here because that's part of his contract ended June the 30th.
Sure.
And he shouldn't have been on this, on this agenda item. It's already paid for the June, June, his contract ended June the 30th, so this shouldn't have been on it.
Okay.
So it should be out, it should be struck out.
Okay. Two L, consideration of action on request for the City of College Park, GICC, to partner with Helping Hands Holiday Dinner, a private 501c3 nonprofit organization. This item is requested by Interim Executive Director of GICC, Gateway Arena and Historic Golf Course, Giannis Barner. This is not a budgeted item. The event will be held in Ward 2.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second.
2M, consideration of action on request to approve a proposal from Naturescape to use as a landscaping contractor for the removal of all overgrowth and retention pond areas along Princeton Avenue and Adams Street, and also cut and remove all trees within the fence area in the amount of $15,000. Is it $15,000?
Yeah, 15,000, sir. was a typo by a mil.
Okay.
15,000.
15,000,
Yeah.
all right.
$15,030?
Yeah, that's what,
All
the
right.
$15,030, Dr. E is the
Yes,
15,000.
yes.
Is there a motion?
Motion?
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
City manager,
Yes, sir.
I guess, Chief, is the individual from the last agenda item, are they out front, the helping hands? If they are, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider, if I can get some clarity.
Councilmember Corn, if they are out there, that's fine, but if we're gonna hold the mayor to a certain standard, we're gonna hold ourselves to a standard. Let's please move this agenda, and if you wanna come back and revisit that, let's do that.
I'd
We're
like to
moving
revisit
forward.
it.
We're moving-
I'd like to revisit it at the end of the agenda items if possible.
That's the one L, right?
Yes.
L. Okay.
We're moving forward. Next agenda item, please.
Consideration of action, that's 2N, consideration of action on request to approve the FAA additional FAR and GSAR clauses for lease renewals. This item is requested by City Attorney Winston Denmark.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carney. Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second.
2O, consideration and action on request for approval to allow Cone Incorporated to make necessary hardware, software repairs to the elevator located in City Hall in the amount of $17,878. This item is requested by interim city manager, Dr. Emmanuel Dittering.
It's a federal mandate, ma'am.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember McKenzie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Dr. Adediran, if you could share with us why, after, I guess, next week,
Mayor, we're
why.
not taking questions.
I understand. He's supposed to tell us at next week.
Yes.
And so,
Next week.
Okay.
Next week.
If he could,
Next week.
if he could share with us why he'd already signed the contract and when it's in excess of $10,000.
That's fine.
That would be something that I would want to have the information on.
No problem, ma'am.
Okay. Clerk?
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
2P, consideration of action on approval to the construction and development of Ward 2 Community Resource Center to be located at Sabrina Willis Park, and this is requested by Councilman Joe Carn.
Is there a motion?
There's discussion before motion.
No, that's not how this works.
Yes, it is. We've had discussion before motions all the time, and that's perfectly
I'm the
allowed.
presiding officer. I've called for a motion. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Carn. Would you like to discuss? Go right ahead.
Let's just move on.
All right, Dr. Adediran,
I
if
can
you,
discuss it.
he's-
Joe,
City
you got
engineer.
the action item approved. Can we move the agenda, please?
hold on, Councilmember Gay. Dr. Adediran, if you could share next week how the city plans to build something in a
City
floodplain.
engineer's going to speak on it, right?
AB.
Dr. Adair.
We're not answering any
We're not
questions.
answering questions.
We're not
Simply
answering-
asking
we're
you
not-
It's not a
we're not
question.
answering-
He's
do it
just
next
going to
week.
tell about the
We're not answering
project.
questions.
Okay.
We're not answering any questions.
All right?
Okay. No problem.
Okay.
And Dr. Adediran, if you could share the price of it next week too, because I don't think there's cost information in there. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
that would be good as well.
This is.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Need to vote, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do. I call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Okay. Q, consideration and action on adjusting the multifamily ordinance inspection section language and adjusting the minimum inspection requirement for more than 5 multifamily units to any multifamily with more than 10 units. This is requested by Councilman Joe Carn, and this will service all wards.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. If someone could answer the question next week, why in the world we would actually support being less enforceable with our ordinances and opening ourselves up to more abuse on a smaller level, considering the makeup of our residential population next week, that'd be great.
I do have some discussion on this.
Councilmember Carn?
Doing discussion.
Oh, no, we're just not asking questions.
Okay, well, he had discussion.
Yeah, he's got
I'll just
discussion.
make a quick statement so that there's clarity. That's all, very brief.
Okay, very well.
Essentially, what we're doing here, when we instituted this, and this was something that I thought we needed to do many, many years ago, this was primarily for large apartment complexes. Those are the ones that we experience most of our blight from and a lot of our crime issues from. This wasn't for something that would be for smaller business owners with smaller apartment complexes or smaller onesies and twosies and small unit situations. However, there are some situations where that may be required. So my suggestion would be to also include a clause in that says if you have 10 units, if there's an apartment community 10 units or less, the resident can request an inspection, and that will be at the expense of the owner along the lines of the larger apartment complexes. We want to make sure we cover everyone, but I don't want to penalize, where there are small business owners where that is an expense. This was meant, again, for the larger apartments where the majority of our problems and issues are. So I just wanted to be fair from both spectrums, where our residents were covered. If they want an inspection, they will get an inspection before they move in. And at the same time, we keep raising the standards for our larger complexes with it mandatory there. So.
Discussion.
Councilmember McKenzie?
My concern with this, which I have several concerns with this, is that I find, especially in my ward, I have more of the smaller units than the larger. And I find that sometimes the landlords that have even the smaller are less likely to do what they need to do by their residents. I get complaints on a regular basis. So my concern is, I hear what Councilman Carn is saying, but how could we ensure, if you're going to give people the option to be able to get an inspection, how can we ensure that those complex owners are really going to present that to people upon the application process? So I'm having difficulty with allowing a change in the inspections that we require.
I think that.
Hold on. Councilmember Gay, did you have something to say?
Yes, I thought that if the tenant wanted an inspection per this consideration item, that cost would be bared by the management. That was the compromise, I thought.
And we can also, as an additional layer of coverage for residents, when they come in to turn their lights on, we can have the form there that they are given notice that they have an option to request an inspection if they wish. That way, there's notice there at the owner's expense, same as the larger apartment complexes.
I hear what you're saying. I'm still wary of it, and I don't have a lot of faith in the fact that people will get the information in advance.
Well, before they turn the lights on, city manager, we want to make it our business to make sure they do have the information and that they have the option, if they so wish, to make sure that they're moving into a decent situation.
So, Dr. Adediran, I would ask that you and your team outline exactly how we're going to ensure that people, especially tenants who are often in the power dynamic, they have less power. And so how we're going to, as a city, ensure that we are prompting them and arming them with the appropriate information to make sure that if we're not inspecting, they know their rights, and there's a robust plan for that to share that communication. Because I share Councilmember McKenzie's concerns, and I literally have no idea why we would make things less safe for our tenants in the city, especially given how many people rent in this city.
Sir, it's a yes, and we need to move on with the agenda.
If you could just follow up
It's a yes.
Okay, no
All right.
problem.
with the plan. Are you clear on my question?
Yes, and it's
I was-
and it's documented.
I understand, but
Okay.
I was asking Dr. Adadiran, are you clear with my question?
Yes.
Yes.
I was asking Dr. Adadiran, are you clear on the question?
It will be follow-up, and I'll have the inspection area and customer service will come up with a form, just like they come and turn their lights and stuff on. That's something that will be added to it.
Sir, we're following up next week, not tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Clerk?
Madam Mayor.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
The motion passes with council members Carn and Gay in favor, Councilmember McKenzie opposed.
2R, consideration to approve international travel for Councilmember Joe Carn for city business.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. If we could find out next week what the city business is, how much this is going to cost, what the actual reason for attending other than to just go to India is, and I saw that. It didn't answer my question.
I'm aware of what the travel is, Mayor, and it is something that would benefit the government of the city of College Park. Councilman Carn, I guess he can speak on it himself.
I was still talking. But
I know that,
so I understand,
I'm
but
participating in the discussion, which I have the right to do.
I appreciate the opportunity to get the questions out. We're going to answer them next week. And so if I could just get an understanding of how much it's going to cost, what the actual purpose of the trip is. I understand that it is a trip to India, but how it will directly benefit the city of College Park, and how long it's going to be, when it's going to be, all that good stuff.
Attorney Denmark, I'm a little confused because I didn't think that we had removed the ability for us to deliberate today. I thought we had removed the answering of questions, and the mayor has jumped to conclusions without us having a chance to discuss. As I was saying, I am aware of this trip. Councilman Carn hasn't had the opportunity to even share discussion, but it is a trip that is a coveted trip that would really benefit us as a city to have someone attend, but he can speak for himself.
Councilmember Carn?
Well, it's a good opportunity for the city, obviously. One of the things we want to do in terms of the state of Georgia and Fulton County in particular, they're expanding their scope of trade and economic development. These emerging markets have a difficult time getting access into the U.S. market itself. Creating this type of a one-stop is a new trend that's going on, and it's pretty innovative, actually, whereas thousands of businesses and entrepreneurs throughout those countries want to come into the U.S. markets. We want Georgia to be that portal via Fulton County, and we certainly want College Park to be a part of that equation in those offices in terms of available properties, land, warehouse, whatever is needed that we can accommodate. We want to attract that business and attract those American headquarters from those foreign companies if we can. So that's essentially what it's about. The travel is in October. The dates are kind of tentative, but right now I think they're towards the end of October. And I think it's a great opportunity, again, and we want to make sure that we're part of it if this comes to fruition, which I think it is. So that's pretty much it. And contrary to the popular belief, I haven't already made this travel, obviously. I'm asking for permission to go. I think it's going to be well worth the travel, and I will always represent this city well as usual anytime I'm out and about representing this city. So hopefully we bring back some interest.
If you could someone answer the question.
I'd like to respond.
Hold on one second.
I'd like to have discussion.
Hold on. If you could answer next week. Can I go? Can we all go?
Discussion, Mayor.
Yeah, next week. I was asking the question next week. And hold on, I'm presiding. Thank you.
I can answer that.
Councilmember McKenzie is next.
Yes, I want to clarify to the public that when I first moved to this city, any type of travel that employees made or council members had to be approved, even if it was within the United States. However, that policy has been changed, and the policy now is that if you're traveling internationally, that's when you need to have the approval as a council member. But I want to make it very clear to everyone that when we approve this travel for Councilman Carn, should we do that, that is coming out of the budget that he has been given for the year. And so it's not like we are approving something that's not budgeted. He can use his travel, just like I can use my travel for the things that I believe are beneficial for me as an elected official. So we are not voting on this to take unbudgeted money for him to just gallivant all over the place, but we are saying that when it comes to international travel, that he can do that on behalf of the city. So, because I want to clarify, because I've heard people thinking, even the last time when this came up where he traveled internationally, he's the one on this dais that does the travel out of the country. I'd like to do more, but I have so many things going on, it's hard to take off that time. But I think it's great for anybody that's on our legislative team. When we had the trip, when you went to Korea, that was very beneficial for us as a city. We actually have some things pertaining to robotics that will be unveiled in the city as a result of that. And we've been put on the map in Korea. So it's connected us to the Korean community in an even greater way here in the state of Georgia. So this international travel, we've got to remember that we are a city that has an international community, an international airport, and we don't plan on just being Mayberry forever.
All right.
So that's all I have to say.
She's talking.
That's all. I'm done. I know I was about to go on and on and on.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
2S, discussion to amend the City of College Park Purchasing Policy and Procedural Manual, Section 1, subsequent B, exceptions prohibited. Section 3, general procedures for purchasing of goods and of services, with the permanent addition of P, contracts involving lobbying services. This item is suggested by our City Attorney, Winston Dimmer.
If we could get some clarity next week about how we got here and why anybody did this, because I'm unclear based upon the agenda item. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Carney. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Gay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I make a motion for reconsideration
Right.
of one particular item.
City Manager.
If the individual is here from the Human Culture Civic Program.
That was passed.
That would be L.
That was G.
L was the Helping Hands,
L,
Councilman
Helping
Cohen. I think
Hands,
that's what you referred to.
I'm sorry. All right, Helping Hands. Well, I would like to see if there's any interest in reconsidering that.
All right. You made a motion?
I understand it. They are insured. They've done this for many, many years at Henderson Arena, which is non-existent anymore. And I think this would be a tremendous gift to our community in terms of a Christmas event on the scale of which we've never had before for our young people.
All right. There's a motion. Is there a second for reconsideration?
Being that they have the proper insurance and coverage and everything that they need, our in-kind would be providing the convention center
Is there a
available on that
second?
day itself. Just want to give that detail, and that's it.
Is there a second to reconsider? There is not. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
So move.
For what purpose?
Real estate, legal, and personnel.
Second.
All right. There is a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussion of real estate litigation and personnel. And any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're going to go into executive session.